Hi guys, sorry I missed doing a video last week. It was a crazy week. So today I'll be doing 2 short reviews of the last 2 episodes instead of just one. So here we go with Doctor Who Series 12 episodes 6 and 7, Praxeus and Can You Hear Me? Okay, so I thought Praxeus had a pretty good start. The team having split up added to the intrigue of the mysterious and spooky events that were going on. The deaths were genuinely creepy, especially when the one vlogger girl explodes. I thought that was one of the creepiest things I'd seen on Doctor Who in a long time. And I like it when the show gets a little scary. I liked a lot of the characters, especially, what was her name, Gabriella? The vlogger girl. Although it did seem a little unrealistic how fast she got over her best friend's death. She was a rather entertaining and well-written character otherwise, though. The parts where she thought everyone would know who she was amusing. Wouldn't mind actually seeing that character pop up again in the future. Ooh, I just got a great idea. Give her own comedic Big Finish spinoff. Maybe, she changes her vlog to be like one where she searches for aliens and constantly ends up getting into trouble that she has to stumble her way out of. She could even have crossovers with, Unit and Torchwood and countermeasures. Ooh, this sounds like a lot of fun. Well, anyways, as for the other characters, I thought the scientist was cool. Nice twist there. The poor guy who got killed by the birds, kind of wish we'd gotten more of him. Not quite sure what the purpose of his character was. Was he an alien? Was he a human Suki hired to help her in the laboratory? He seemed to be a colleague rather than an employee, so I guess he was an alien? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that was ever made clear. The storyline in the astronaut and the police officer was kind of cliched, and honestly, I'm sorry, I just didn't care about it. Between that and a bit too much exposition dialogue, though not nearly as bad as some episodes we've had, did drag the episode down a bit for me in the middle. Speaking of the police guy, though, I will say I've heard a lot of people ask why, if she could save this guy, why couldn't Davison have saved Adric? Well, I watched that part of Earthshock again to see if there were any clues, and I did notice that the Doctor tells the cyber leader that the reason he can't materialize on the ship is because it is quickly traveling back through time, phasing in and out with constantly changing coordinates, so that he has, as he says, nothing to lock onto. The ship this guy was on was simply traveling normally in space, and as she has gotten much better at piloting the TARDIS since then, I imagine it was just a much easier thing to do. Also, I just want to say that while there was a message in this episode, similar to Orphan 55, it wasn't a problem for me like it was in that episode. This time, the message was well woven throughout the story instead of just tacked on at the end. All in all, I'd give this story a 7 out of 10. Can You Hear Me was another one that started off pretty well. The cold open, which I love that we had a cold open, was really creepy, as was all the parts of the fam coming across the weird guy with the detachable fingers. Unlike the last episode, though, it wasn't able to retain that interest for me. I think the mystery was solved way too soon. It really took away the creepiness for me to show the spaceship or whatever it was so soon. As soon as we got to the spaceship, I just felt like the episode became exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump. There were a lot of interesting ideas in this, however, with the Immortals. Nice to have the Eternals, Guardians, and Toymaker name checked, by the way. And the nightmares and stuff were interesting too. I just wish that there had been more action and less talking. Even the part towards the end when she's taking everyone's nightmares. I wish there had been a bit more, suspense. Showing more people terrified or even just hearing people screaming would have been much more effective than just black smoke. That didn't really do it for me. They showed the little girl, but there should have been more of that sort of thing, I thought. Again here, the episode had a message, and I think it might have been the most important message this season. Mental health is a very important message to get across. Again, though, I wish it could have been woven into the story better. Seemed a bit clunky, but like I say, it is a very important message to have and should be talked about. And if you're having mental health problems, please seek help. It can and will get better. So, while Can You Hear Me wasn't the worst episode ever, I think it might have been one of the slowest, and, well, I'm sorry, but there were moments when it was honestly just kind of boring. But it did have some really good ideas and a very important message. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, a little word about next week. As a huge Frankenstein fan and Ghost Story fan, I am really looking forward to this next week's episode. Although, I have to admit, there is a part of me that is afraid of what this is going to do to the Eighth Doctor's Big Finish adventures, but you know what? Who cares? We're getting Mary Shelley and that infamous night where she came up with Frankenstein on screen. They better not mess this up. So until then, have a good week, and I'll see you next time for my review of Episode 8, The Haunting of Via Diodati. Goodbye!